From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media, or Voice of America, on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday called on Filipinos to be a source of light and goodness as the nation marks the birth of Jesus Christ and the season of giving. In his Christmas message, the President joined the country in celebrating the joyful and blessed day of Christmas, describing it as a moment to honor Jesus Christ's birth, express gratitude for the year's blessings, and spend meaningful time with family and loved ones. President Marcos highlighted the uniquely warm and festive spirit of the Filipino Christmas, which he said offers countless moments to appreciate and cherish life's many blessings. The chief executive also urged Filipinos to remember the poor, the sick, calamity victims, and marginalized communities amid holiday celebrations. President Marcos Jr. encouraged the public to follow Christ's example by sharing their blessings and showing compassion and generosity, especially toward children, whom he described as the heart of the Christmas season. The President expressed hope that the deepest hopes of Filipinos will be fulfilled and that love and goodwill will continue to guide families and communities beyond the holidays.
Mga minamahal kong kababayan, pamilyang Pilipino, dito sa ating bansa o saan man panig sa mundo, sana ay nasa mabuti kayong kalagayan. Sa pagtatapos nitong taon, tayo ay magpasalamat para sa mga biyayang ating natanggap, na sa lahat ng pagsubok na buong tapang nating hinarap, tayo ay naging matagumpay. Sa pagsasalubong natin sa Pasko at ng bagong taon, naway lalo pa tayong mabiyayaan ng magandang kalusugan, mapaligiran ng mabubuting pamilya at kaibigan, at magkaroon ng mas masaganang kabuhayan. Kaya po, mula sa aming pamilya, kami ay bumabati sa inyo ng maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. along with the First Family.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police, or PNP, on Thursday reported that Christmas celebrations across the country have so far remained generally peaceful. In a statement, the PNP said Christmas Eve masses on December 24th were held without incident, following the smooth and orderly security coverage of the 9-day Simbang Gabi from December 16 to 24. PNP Acting Chief Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. said police officers were deployed to churches, transport terminals, and other crowded areas to ensure the safety of churchgoers and the public throughout the holiday season. He added that Christmas serves as a reminder of compassion, humility, and service, values that guide the PNP as a community-oriented and God-centered organization working closely with the public. Nartates said the orderly conduct of Simbang Gabi reflected both the public's cooperation and the dedication of police personnel who remained on duty during the holidays. He also thanked church leaders, local governments, force multipliers, and volunteers for supporting the PNP's peacekeeping efforts. The PNP said heightened police visibility and public safety operations will continue to the rest of the holiday period, including Christmas Day and New Year festivities. It reaffirmed its commitment to public safety under the Bagong PNP para sa Bagong Pilipinas framework of serbisyong mabilis, tapat at nararamdaman, especially during major national and religious events.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, successfully and peacefully carried out a resupply mission for its troops stationed on the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal just days before Christmas. Aside from essential supplies, the AFP also delivered Noche Buena packages for the soldiers assigned to the vessel, as well as those deployed in other island features of the West Philippine Sea. These include the islands of Pag-asa, Panata, Rizal Reef, Kota Island, Parola, Lawak, Likas, and Patag Island. The operation was led by Western Command or Westcom Commander Vice Admiral Alfonso Torres Jr. to ensure the timely delivery of supplies and other services for the troops. In addition to the gifts, the AFP also conducted a medical mission to check on the soldiers' health and help them take care of themselves. As part of the AFP's 90th anniversary, the mission serves as a reminder that the Armed Forces remembers all its personnel, even those stationed in the farthest and most remote corners of the country.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Wednesday dismissed as mere hearsay allegations that several cabinet secretaries were included in a supposed list of proponents behind multi-billion peso budget insertions for Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH infrastructure projects. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro, in a text message, said the claims carry no probative value unless supported by authenticated documents. She stressed that information from unofficial channels should not be given weight without proper verification, noting that due process and official validation are required before the palace can issue any response. The statement came after Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste claimed that the late DPWH Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral had given him documents on September 4th naming high-ranking officials, including cabinet secretaries, allegedly linked to the agency's budget insertions. Leviste said he presented the files to the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or ICI, on November 18 and 19, and later to the Office of the Ombudsman on November 26. His disclosure followed Cabral's death on December 19 after falling into a ravine in Benguet Province. Cabral had previously been accused by former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo of playing a central role in the agency's financial planning. She resigned on September 16th amid the controversy.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meantime, Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Legarda Leviste has released the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, budget distribution figures for 2023 to 2026 amounting to 3.5 trillion pesos, citing documents provided by the agency with the approval of Secretary Vince Dizon. He said this is equivalent to almost 125,000 pesos per Filipino family. According to Leviste, the figures refer solely to capital outlays for local projects and do not yet include personal services, maintenance and other operating expenses, or MOOE, or foreign assisted projects, while the 2026 House General Appropriations Bill or HGAB figures may still change under the 2026 General Appropriations Act or GA. The released data also includes the 213.8 billion pesos in unprogrammed appropriations released to the DPWH for priority projects in 2023 and 2024. Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro earlier said that Malacañang will only comment on documents formally authenticated by the DPWH. Leviste maintained that the data he released came directly from the DPWH with DZON's clearance. He urged support for DZON's push for transparency, noting that district allocations should be publicly known. The released data includes a breakdown of the 401.3 billion pesos allocable budget that district lawmakers can assign annually. Leviste said he plans to release additional information on priority projects funded through unprogrammed appropriations, along with the list of proponents based on files from the office of the late Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral. He said the information can be easily verified through communications from Cabral's office, her staff, and other DPWH records, stressing that the agency can confirm allocations for each district and lawmaker. Leviste earlier presented Cabral's files to the Independent Commission for Infrastructure on November 18 and 19 and the Office of the Ombudsman on November 26, noting that both bodies said they had not previously seen the documents. He thanked the DPWH for turning over copies to the Ombudsman on Tuesday, following public calls for greater transparency in the agency's budget.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Department of Agriculture, or DA, announced that lower middle-income families, rather Filipinos, may be able to buy rice at 20 pesos per kilogram starting January 2026 under the expanded and accelerated rollout of the Benteng Bigas Meron, or BBM na program. The initiative forms part of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s commitment to provide cheaper, higher quality rice for Filipinos, especially poor and vulnerable households. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. in a recent year-end interview said the intensified implementation aims to reach 15 million households in partnership with the local government units or LGUs. At least 8 provinces will be prioritized from January to February, with Pangasinan Province at the top of the list. The remaining areas will be announced later. The BBM na program is now present in all 82 provinces and is expected to complete its nationwide rollout before year-end, benefiting nearly 2 million households so far. Chu Laurel said LGUs have expressed strong support, noting that the national government will shoulder the full cost of the program, while local governments will handle selling and logistics. He added that the 20 peso rice may also be made available in schools and workplaces through coordination with the Department of Education, or DepEd, and the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE. To ensure supply, he cited ongoing procurement of palay to support local farmers. If the proposed 2026 General Appropriations Act, or GA, is approved without cuts, the DA expects to tap its 23 billion peso allocation, enough to purchase 1.5 million to 1.8 million metric tons of rice.
Next year nga, ang target natin is 15 million households, no? So, more than, I think, almost 2 million na tayo ngayon. So, but we still have a long way to go. But we'll have a major launch in January, and we've targeted 8 provinces yata by January, February na ma-implement na yan. And for every week of the year, next year, meron na kaming lalabas na schedule of implementation ng 20 peso rice for yung mga middle income class, lower middle income class below. So, mass rollout na to at I'm sure sana naman matuwa ang taong bayan sa yung pangako ng ating Pangulo ay andyan na.
Chu Laurel Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, on Thursday underscored the widening reach and measurable impact of its social protection programs for senior citizens, children, and disaster-affected families as it continues to enhance basic service delivery nationwide. DSWD Assistant Secretary Irene Dumlao said more than 4 million indigent senior citizens are now receiving a monthly 1,000 peso social pension under the Social Pension for Indigent Senior Citizens program. Dumlao added that Secretary Rex Gatchalian has instructed field offices to distribute pensions more frequently to make the assistance more responsive. Payouts are now scheduled monthly, every 2 months, or at most every 3 months. For children, Dumlao reported that over 1.5 million learners benefited from the Supplementary Feeding Program, which provides hot meals, nutritious food, and milk in child development centers. In the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, more than 18,000 children under the Bangsamoro Umpungan sa Nutrisyon, or BangUN program also receive support through partnerships with local governments to meet nutrition targets. She also highlighted the expansion of the Walang Gutom program, which now covers 600,000 households in line with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to eliminate involuntary hunger by the end of his term. Each household receives 3,000 pesos in monthly food credits redeemable at Kadiwa stores and accredited retailers. Coverage is set to increase to 750,000 households next year. Dumlao said hunger incidents among beneficiaries dropped by more than 7% in 2025 based on monitoring and third-party surveys. For individuals in crisis, more than 7 million beneficiaries received medical, burial, psychosocial, and referral assistance under the Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation, or AICS program this year, with numbers expected to rise once December data is finalized. On disaster response, Dumlao said over 700,000 families received emergency cash transfers, or ECT, from January to October to support early recovery and home repairs after calamities. The ECT, she noted, allows families to prioritize their own needs, whether shelter repair or livelihood restoration.
Dateline Malacañang.
Senate Committee on Finance Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian assured that the 2026 national budget will prioritize improving students' reading skills. This follows the results of the 2024 Southeast Asia Primary Learning Metrics, or CPLM, which showed that Filipino grade 5 students are falling behind their peers in Southeast Asia. According to the study, 27% of grade 5 learners have very low reading proficiency. Gatchalian said that under the national budget approved by the Bicameral Conference Committee, funding for the purchase of books and other instructional materials was increased to 19.5 billion pesos, up from the 11.2 billion pesos allocated under the National Expenditure Program, or NEP. To support learning recovery, The senator also pushed for an additional 3.3 billion pesos to hire 440,000 tutors under the Academic Recovery and Accessible Learning or ARAL program. The funding is expected to benefit 6.7 million students.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Department of Tourism or DOT said the Philippines is positioning itself to help shape the region's tourism landscape as the country prepares to host the 2026 Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN meetings. In a Christmas Day statement, the agency expressed optimism for the coming year despite the challenges the sector faced in 2025. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco said the Philippines is preparing to host the United Nations Tourism Global Forum on Gastronomy and the ASEAN Tourism Forum 2026 in Cebu, affirming their leadership and resilience in shaping the future of tourism in the region. The ASEAN Tourism Forum, or ATF, will be held in Cebu from the 26th to the 29th of January, alongside the ministerial meeting of ASEAN tourism ministers. A key output expected from the gathering is the ASEAN Tourism Strategic Action Plan, for which the Philippines serves as country coordinator. The DOT said it will continue strengthening collaboration and promotional efforts to support the tourism sector, a major contributor to the Philippine economy. Inbound travel recovery remains slow this year due to visa processing issues, natural disasters affecting destinations, security concerns, and limited air connectivity. Despite setbacks, the DOT reported progress in tourism infrastructure through the rollout of tourist rest areas nationwide, expanded digital and on-ground services via Travel Philippines and the Tourist Call Center, and the launch of the country's first transit tours and a medical concierge at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA. Frasco added that the agency continued to elevate hospitality standards through the Filipino brand of Service Excellence Program, equipping tourism workers with skills and values that reflect Filipino warmth and professionalism. She also highlighted the Tourism Champions Challenge, which empowers local governments to develop their own tourism projects.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.